Hey everyone, and greetings once again from Radio Wasteland Records. It is time for our weekly dive into a look at some of the new releases headed to an independent record store near you. Just the highlights though, because as always the list is way too long to get into in such a short amount of time. But if you would like to see that full list, and I do mean the full list, you can head over to our website at radiowastelandrecords.com. Just look for the upcoming releases and click on that, and it will take you to a PDF. Now, it's not the prettiest thing, I know, but it is complete, and you can kind of scroll through that, download it, do whatever you want to do with it. And if you see something on that full list that you'd like us to get a hold of or get some more information for you on, just send us a message and we will dig into that for you. Before we get to the new releases for this upcoming week, though, I wanted to give you another reminder on this new Taylor Swift album. This was just very recently announced as a pre-order for independent record stores. We know it's been on her website and the big box store pre-orders for a while, but we now are able to put in for this. The Tortured Poets Department double LP on ghosted white vinyl will list for about $46, and again, this releases on Friday, the 19th of April. Yeah, the day before Record Store Day. So if this is something you'd like and you're local here to our store in Midland, Michigan, please let us know. We're going to be reserving copies of this ahead of time the best we can for those that pre-order it. So again, the Tortured Poets Department double white LP ghosted white vinyl coming from Taylor Swift, listing for about $46 and releasing on the 19th. Just let us know if you need one. Onward now to the new releases for Friday, the 29th of March, 2024. And if you've been watching our videos for a little while now, you know that when I do the new releases, typically I'll read from the descriptions provided to us through our distributors. Not sure who writes them, but man, some of them get just a little interesting. That said, hang with me on this one. The first new release we've got today is something from an artist named Sir Richard Bishop. Not sure who knighted him. And the album is called Saginaw Racket. Now, we are here in the mid-Michigan area, so Saginaw, not too far from Midland. It's one of the Tri-Cities. It's one of our neighboring cities. So this one piqued my interest. Now, Sir Richard Bishop is AKA Richard Bishop, who is one of the founding members of the band Sun City Girls. That group, by the way, was kind of really an experimental, I guess, alternative group from the 80s through the early 2000s. And this new release from Bishop is a solo effort. Now, according to Bishop's bio on his own website, he was born in Saginaw, Michigan in 1960, and he's best known, as we mentioned, for his 26-year run with the band Sun City Girls. And he's also known as that experimental solo guitarist whose work often reflects the shadow worlds of India, the Middle East, North Africa, and other points along the Gypsy Trail. Now, although he was born in Saginaw and lived here for a few years, Richard, along with his brother Alan, left Michigan in 1979 when he was 19 years old and settled in Phoenix. And not too shortly after is where he hooked up with Sun City Girls. Now, this new album, Saginaw Racket, this is where it gets a little odd with the description, so please stick with me on this, is a new double album by Sir Richard Bishop featuring the first new recordings from this former Sun City Girls guitarist in over 5 years. Now, the description says it is a singular work for electric guitar in 4 parts, with each being a full side of a record. Each of the 4 parts were recorded in one take, and they are presented in the order that they were originally recorded. But this is also a circular work with no fixed beginning or end, meaning that one can start the record with any of the 4 sides, with the remaining 3 sides then being played in order, and it still, I guess, works for continuity. The description goes on to say that this album is more reminiscent of the early 70s underground rock. Okay, the entire work, by the way, is improvised with recurring motifs and melodies. It is a similar approach to Neil Young's Dead Man soundtrack, but Saginaw Racket is louder, more energetic, and more complex, while retaining its cinematic quality. The tone of the guitar is the voice of the record, so it's noisy at times, but it's not noise. I had to use air quotes there. It's not noise, but it is definitely a racket. And it unleashes all of that pent-up energy of the last few years, during much of which Bishop never even picked up a guitar. So in a sense, Richard Bishop is returning to his roots in the form of a spontaneous soundtrack to old Saginaw, where he grew up and first learned to play the guitar. The description concludes by saying, a Saginaw that certainly doesn't exist anymore. This sounds tremendously interesting. If you're into that kind of experimental, avant-garde, or really kind of just improvised guitar work, this could be something for you. Saginaw Racket by Sir Richard Bishop, a double LP on black vinyl, coming in at a list price of about $44. Elsewhere on the new release front, we have got something coming from Sheryl Crow. This is called Evolution. 9-time Grammy Award winner and 2003 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Sheryl Crow is releasing her 11th full-length studio album, Evolution. This album comes as a welcomed surprise after Crow publicly stated that she would not release another full-length album after Threads back in 2018. So much for that. So here we have Evolution coming on colored vinyl. Does not say what color it is, though, in our description. From Sheryl Crow, this one listing for about $30. Up next, a couple of new releases. I'm usually kind of hesitant to do these, but we'll toss them in today anyhow. Something brand new from Blues Image. This is called Next Voyage. Our description says that this is the new release from Blues Image. It says 2023, but I think we're getting around to it now. Featuring the original guitarist and vocalist Mike Panera, who also went on to perform with Iron Butterfly. Now, here's where this gets a little iffy, for me at least. The album features new recordings of the band's classics, Ride Captain Ride with an orchestra, and it throws in Iron Butterfly's In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida with the B.B. King horn section as well. It also has guest appearances on the album from Pat Travers, Jonathan Cain of Journey, and many more. So always be aware of this. When it says that these are re-recordings, this means that this artist has gone back to the catalog, and in this case, both Blues Image and Iron Butterfly, to release redone versions of some of their more famous songs. Next Voyage, if you're into that, from the Blues Image, coming in at a suggested list price of about $35. Same thing with this next one. This is called Final Vinyl, new stuff from Canned Heat. Now, when I say Canned Heat, again, take this as you will. There is only one, and I can't even technically call him an original member of Canned Heat, but he was one of the members of Canned Heat in the late 60s in their classic incarnation. Adolfo Fito de la Parra, the drummer and vocalist from 1967 through present on Canned Heat. Otherwise, this has other new folks in that have been in the band for maybe the past 15 or 20 years. But this brand new stuff from Canned Heat is called Final Vinyl, coming on black vinyl, listing for about $28. Onward now to the reissue scheduled for March 29th. And speaking of Canned Heat, how about a reissue from Harvey Mandel? Harvey Mandel, of course, the famed Canned Heat member, a guitarist, an innovative and eclectic solo guitarist as well. He's also from Michigan, by the way. Here's a reissue of Shan Grenade coming on Coke Bottle Green vinyl, coming from Cleopatra Records. This is the first vinyl pressing since the album's original release in 1973. And the album showcases a variety of Mandel's influences, from blues to jazz to fusion to psychedelic rock. This is also, by the way, an entirely instrumental album, and it does, quite frankly, touch all of those musical genres, so it is a fun ride. Shan Grenade on Coke Bottle Green vinyl, coming from Harvey Mandel, listing for about $28. Here's yet another in the line of Steven Wilson remixes of prog rock albums. This is The Missing Piece, coming from Gentle Giant. Recorded originally in 1977, this was Giant's 9th studio album. This remix by Wilson coming on 180-gram transparent green vinyl, and it will list for about $25. A pair of reissues from Nico up next. We get the Marble Index and Desert Shore. Now, these were both, I think, just reissued by another record label late last year, but here's a new label called Domino, putting them out this year, so take what you will here. The first one, the Marble Index, was originally released in 1968 on Elektra Records, and it's Nico's sophomore release. And our description says that it was an instant avant-garde masterpiece, which means it's not really for everyone. So the Marble Index listing for about $29, looks to be on black vinyl. And then Desert Shore, originally released in 1970. The description says that the material stands alongside Chelsea Girl as some of Nico's most accessible work. So the reissue of Desert Shore listing also for about $29. Each of those, again, new reissues coming from Nico. Here we have Transitional Speedway League, Anthems, Anecdotes, and Undeniable Truths. This is part of the Clutch Collector series, coming from the band Clutch. Transitional Speedway League is the debut studio album by American hard rock band Clutch, originally released in 1993. This reissue says it's on colored vinyl, but of course the description does not say what color vinyl that one is, so we'll have to be surprised, I suppose. But Clutch's Transitional Speedway League, coming in at a very hefty list. It says here $57 is the suggested retail price. So yeah. Here's one from Newfound Glory. It's called Resurrection, and this one is coming on Coke Bottle Green vinyl. Resurrection is the 8th studio album by Newfound Glory, originally released in 2014. This one coming in at a suggested price of $25. And here is MTV Unplugged, coming from All Time Low. This one is actually surprising. Not that they're releasing this album from All Time Low, it's just that I didn't think MTV did music stuff anymore, or even really existed anymore. I know. All Time Low stripped down their songs to just an essential heartbeat for this special MTV Unplugged performance. Shot in New York City during the summer of 2009, the band took their high-energy performance down a few notches in the candlelit studio for some very fortunate fans. So, All Time Low, MTV Unplugged, recorded back in 2009, so I guess maybe they still did music then. This one coming on electric blue colored vinyl and listing for about $25. And here's a new compilation from Down by Law called Revolution Time, coming to us from Kung Fu Records. The description says, veteran punk outfit Down by Law prove they still have the fire and the power to spark a revolution on this timely compilation. It includes all tracks from the original Revolution Time 7-track EP, as well as tracks from rare split singles to acoustic cover versions of Elvis Costello, Thin Lizzy, and Stiff Little Fingers. So this one coming from Down by Law, Revolution Time, a new compilation, listing for about $20. And wrapping things up on the reissue front, we told you about these, I believe, last week when they released some black vinyl reissues. But now we have colored vinyl reissues of a couple of releases from Wham. Up first is Fantastic, this one coming on red colored vinyl. This has also been remastered, by the way, and this is their 1983 debut album. The red vinyl reissue coming from Sony UK, listing for about $39. And then the biggie, Make It Big. This is one also remastered and coming on white colored vinyl. This one, of course, their second album from 1984 with the big hit singles Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Freedom, Careless Whisper, they are all on this one. As we mentioned, white vinyl remastered from Wham, Make It Big, this one listing for about $39 as well. And that is a quick check of some of the new releases headed our way for Friday the 29th of March 2024. If you're local and you see something you'd like us to get a hold of, just contact us and we'll put it in a pre-order for you. Otherwise, please head over to our website at radiowastelandrecords.com, and on there you can check out the full list of releases for the 29th. It's a PDF. It's not pretty. It's very utilitarian, to tell you the truth, but it does have everything on there that you would want to get into. And if you see something on that bigger list, again, just contact us as well. We can give you some more info on that and or put in a pre-order for you. So until next time, this has been Jim from Radio Wasteland. Thanks a lot for being here.